welcome to the Next Fix, guys. We've got another episode here by a gentleman. His name is Mitch Carson, and I got to be honest, the two words have been embedded in my mind, and just reading about this gentleman and having a brief conversation before we hit record, and it's stage presence, right? Two words. This gentleman's coming to us from Las Vegas. Let's welcome to the show, Mitch. Mitch, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being here. I'm always excited to share about recovery.
Right. And so Mitch has this super extensive and professional, background as far as, presenting, being on stages, TV entertainment, radio entertainment. But he also shared with me that he has a sober date of 1984. So I'm kind of guessing that before all this professionalism and this high-grade entertainment happened, he was a scumbag, much like myself, and I think we can both agree. So Mitch, getting into that, like, this is usually what I kind of try to pry and get for the audience is like, we want to know when the train came off the tracks, man. When did the shit hit the fan?
June 30th, 1984. I was sitting in my apartment in Hollywood, California. I grew up in LA, so I'm an LA native. I can't get any more native than being born at Kaiser Hospital on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. So I was in my apartment in Hollywood on this day, June 30th, and I was sitting there with the remaining quarter pound of cocaine. I had been up for 3 days straight freebasing. So anybody that's younger in this crowd, that's the dad to crack. That's crack's daddy, because it was the predecessor to crack cocaine. It was before it came served to you ready to smoke. You had to cook your own. And I was cooking my own in my kitchen, and I had been doing so. And I had this mound of coke sitting there. I'm now, just for purposes of understanding, I'm 6 feet, 220 pounds now. I'm a little bit overweight. I should be around 200. At that juncture, I was still 6 feet. I'm probably 150 pounds maximum.
Oh, man.
So skinny. And here's the delusional thinking that existed at that point. I thought I looked good because I had a suntan. And when moments that I could get outside, I basked in the sun with baby oil and thinking that was the way to look good for the hot chicks. But where my addiction and alcoholism took me was, at that point, I no longer craved the opposite sex. The only thing that mattered to me was getting loaded, to get my next.
Right, but Mitch, I gotta say, man, as far as I'm concerned, man, that you just described like the perfect vision of the 80s to me. Is a guy all lubed up on the side of the pool full of cocaine. As far as I understand, that's how the entire 80s went, during the Reagan administration. So,
yeah, and it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because shortly after I got sober, I got myself back into physical shape, and a fellow that worked out at the same taekwondo school I went to on Wilshire Boulevard was Ron Reagan Jr. Our
Interesting.
Son. Yeah. True story.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was.
That is
a
wild.
Really nice guy. Just side note, I'll talk about addiction. I will just plug that about Ron. I knew him back in the 80s. He did not participate in any of this. This was my own insanity. But I knew the guy, and he was a good fellow. And his father was in office at that time.
Right. So, but now your life crumbles, and at some point you're in tears somewhere without cocaine. So,
well, yeah. And I'll finish this visual of that night on June 30, 1984. I'm watching TV. And yes, we watched television. Netflix didn't exist. The internet didn't exist. We're going back exactly 40 years ago, because Monday I'll celebrate 40 years clean and sober on July.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. A long
That's
time.
Amazing, brother.
But I'm still wasted on this day. I'm watching TV. It's 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning, I'm alone in my one-bedroom apartment in Hollywood. And a commercial comes up from a company that was advertising recovery called Care Unit. This was I think a Los Angeles-based company that had offices or recovery centers. They were basically dry out places. I don't think they focused much on recovery. It was more about detox and give you a good kick in the ass and a shot of vitamin E or vitamin B12. Hey,
right.
Don't use drugs anymore. And the graphic image, Ryan, and I want you to visualize this. You're below a level of plexiglass, and the captions came up. This is what happens to you when you freebase cocaine. And the dirt starts to pile on, and you're in a grave, and you're looking up, and the dirt starts piling on. Cocaine addiction will kill you. That was the message. That was my turning point, pivot point, the juncture in my life when I said consciously, unconsciously, and out loud through action, I chose to live. I did not want to die. I chose to live at that point. It was a decision. Right then, I turned down the volume, picked up my phone, push button dialed. That's how it was in 1984. Care unit. They had an 800 number. Guess what? The line was busy. I called back again. After the third time, I said, I'm going to pull out the yellow pages. That used to be a big book with yellow pages of advertising based on category. Okay? I don't know how old you are, but this might be long before your time, but that's how we found places. There was no Google. There was no Yahoo. There wasn't even Bing Bing. It was yellow pages. So I pulled out the yellow pages and I found a drug recovery or drug rehab place and dry out place called Adult Substance Abuse Program. I made the call. They answered. They came and picked me up, took me in. I had good insurance. I stayed.
I was gonna say, Mitch, because I'm seeing Malibu. What is it? The detox, the Malibu detox, Passages. Yeah, I'm like in my mind, it's like so Hollywood.
No,
so Hollywood.
That kind of money. I was near broke. I just had some blow left on my mirror.
Got it.
I was at this point 23 years old. So now
23.
I was 23. And what led up to my heavy addiction, everybody has a story that backs up the why we use. Mine isn't dissimilar to too many others. It's usually triggered by some significant pain that occurs in your life, and we mask the pain, we meditate that pain through either drugs or alcohol. If you come from the NA world, they say addiction, it's all drugs are the same. Alcohol, we say alcohol and drugs. It's all the same. It's a substance that masks our pain, albeit emotional, it can be physical, but we are avoiding pain as human beings and seeking pleasure. And oftentimes the consumption of drugs was quite pleasurable. A hot-looking woman, or hot-looking women, plural, sometimes there were plural women in my life when I was loaded. The guy with the blow got plenty of chicks. He dictated the terms. The pleasure was having multiple women. Yes, I'm guilty. I was young, and I had blow, and I got blown. And it happened because I was the guy with the bag.
Right. It can leverage a good amount of cocaine can leverage your looks quite well, right? It can.
I became a skinny 150-pound guy to Arnold Schwarzenegger build because I had the coke. Now, what set this off was 1 year before, Ryan, and this was the pain element. I was an only child, and my mother and stepfather died 5 weeks apart. I got lots of money from their deaths. They were 45 and 49 years old, respectively. My mother was 45.
Wait, hold on a second, Mitch. So wait, hold on. So you're 23, 40 years ago when you were you drew a line in the sand.
Yeah.
But a year before that, you're 22 when they had passed, and they were in their mid 40s, and then you got a chunk of change, right? And then you blew it, literally.
All up my nose and up through my lungs, smoking it. And I bought hookers, I bought cars, I did everything. A guy in pain with no training, no direction, no father, seriously no male figure or female figure to follow and give me a roadmap to live and conduct myself in my life. And I checked myself into this rehab. I listened, and my life, I made that conscious decision. Now, some people find God, and they also couple their recovery with a religious component. And it may be a God, it might be multiple gods if they're Hindus, whatever it is, they attach themselves to a spiritual place. That part didn't work for me. What I attached myself to was other people and acts of service. So I was able to pay it forward by giving back. Much like I'm on this podcast with you, not expecting, I have no intention of commercializing this episode. This is strictly coming to possibly and potentially help somebody else. If they hear my message, it resonates with him or her, and oh God, I have a similar story to Mitch, and if he did it, I can do it. My situation isn't as bad as him, because we always compare ourselves to other people. I too can be recovered, and I can live a productive life. And
well, you know what, Mitch?
Yeah, sure.
You know, I was talking about this not too long ago. I'm the opposite of you. I was mentioning your path, that people lean into the connection and the community, and that's involved in AA. And much like I share on the show, is that AA wasn't my path. I actually went the God route. I started reading the Bible and Scripture, and that was how I leaned into that portion. And so just as you had described, some people get into the religion and that's what it grips them. That's what worked for me. And so,
it does.
But yeah,
it works. And I wouldn't even debate it. It's interesting. So I will just say this, because I've been in this space a long time. Before I walked into AA, which was the final place that I went to get recovered in the beginning, and then since then I've expanded my knowledge and understanding and seeking. I'm never stopping seeking. Many people embrace God. Some go the route of Buddhism, and where they don't embrace God. There is no God in Buddhism. Some go Christianity. Some go all the way to Islam. There is God. They just call him Allah there. Or they go Hindu, and there are like 100 of them, 100 gods. So they just pick one based on whatever it is that they're seeking. Some higher power component. You chose, I would imagine, Jesus. And that's fine. Right. It worked for you. But what you did was you sought help outside of yourself. I sought help outside of myself. And I realized I cannot do this without some outside assistance. And that's where the component of humility came in. I had to bend a knee to the realization that Mitch couldn't handle this without assistance. I needed a group of friends, a group of drunks, which would be my understanding of God. And AA was my immediate answer. Narcotics Anonymous, I also attended. Cocaine Anonymous, I attended. All three programs were built around the principles of 12 steps, but it didn't end there. And it isn't the only solution. You've found your solution. You did what you did. It worked for you. And there isn't one way to recovery. Much like there isn't one way to heaven if you choose to believe in that. There are multiple ways to get there. And that's part of the reason why I didn't accept Christianity, because this is the only way, and I was raised with it. But I saw that there are good people in other religions, because if you are a true Christian, that means all the good people who are Hindus can't arrive to the heavens if they don't accept Jesus Christ. And I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. I just like accepting all people who are good people.
Well, see, I agree with you. I agree with you, Mitch, that I'm a fan of belief.
Got it.
It's like more cultivating the belief, and then you choose what to believe in. And I think that when you couple belief in yourself with belief in something higher than yourself, and like you kind of remove you kind of take a peek out from behind your own ego, and you believe in something larger, and whatever label you want to use, whatever type of book or what. To me, I'm a fan of belief, and I think if a person is attempting the tough journey of recovery, the better you get at belief in yourself and something larger than yourself, and kind of get outside of yourself with that belief, the better your chances.
100%. And we're fallible. Very, very, very few people I've met in my travels of now being 63 years old have been able to white knuckle it, which is a term I learned in AA, without assistance. They just tough it out, and I'm strong, and that's so rare. It does exist. People say, oh, it doesn't work. No, there are some people. Telling the truth is key here. Hey, telling the truth. Most people can't do it, and I don't recommend it. It's risky. It's a lot easier.
Right.
We are social human beings. We need other people. We need other people, or we'd all be hermits. I think it's fine for Mr. Hermit that goes into the mountain and chooses not to bathe and brush his teeth. Good for him, sport. Go ahead. But you're not going to be very social, are you? And we have to be around other people, and other people help us. I come from the premise, Ryan, the position, man is basically good, not evil. Man can choose to be evil, but at our core, if we're left, and jealousy and all these other things come up, and greed, all these sinful types of behaviors and conduct that we choose to act on, because it's always a choice, are natural. And you can manage those. That makes us different than the dogs that argue over the bowl of food that we feed them. They're growling at, they're humans with a diminished brain capacity. In some cases, not all cases, but they're just animals. And we're supposedly more evolved from them. Well, aren't we over food just like they are? I mean, the pit bull against the poodle. I mean, they're arguing. They're different colors, different races of people, different races of dogs. But they need each other. Dogs are pack animals, so are humans.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
And it's just the level or the size of our respective brains that are different. They need affection. We need affection, and a path. We need food, water, and a place to poo. Okay, and those different than our dogs. But their behavior is a perfect example how humans act. And I think dogs are loving until food enters the picture, or if you give affection to one dog over the other, then they start growling and getting jealous. Think that's any different than people? Not really.
Right. So, and I agree. The connection is usually what most people, it's the element that most people are missing. Hence the misery of being an addict, right? I think most times, in most people's cases, it's the lack of connection. It's the isolation. And so when we lose our pack, I guess a silver lining to that is that's kind of where I started turning around, because I'm like, oh shit, nobody's picking up my phone call anymore. Like nobody's getting, like, nobody wants to be around me. Nobody wants to talk to me. And then once it really starts to sink in, it was as a layer of the necessity to get better. But you're right. It's like we're very much a part of a connect. We desire to be connected. And so then most times people, they get all fucked up, and then now it's not them. And now their perception of reality is distorted. And then you add the substances, and man, it's a recipe for rock bottom. But so you shared that you got into the AA programs, and then so you worked the steps. Now you mentioned that you made a decision and you made the phone call, and then you got yourself into rehab. Did you slip up? Like, what did you? I know that was your sober date, but did you have a relapse? How did that look?
Well, a slip, and I've heard these acronyms, and some of them are so good and accurate. A slip is sobriety losing its priority. Sobriety losing its priority. If you stop addressing your disease, which is an easy thing for me to hang my hat on, alcoholism, drug addiction, let's just call it chemical dependency, is a disease. We react differently than the normal people out there. And I don't know the percentage of people that are quote unquote normal. I want to punch people in the throat who only drink about a quarter of their glass of wine. I drink the whole frigging bottle, in a matter of minutes. And they sip it. And it's like, you want me to punch you? It's coming, bud, right in your snout. I drink that fucking glass. So, they can't, I don't understand. It's hard for me to understand, Ryan. It's or some of these guys back from my using days, and we're going back 4 decades now. But I remember these people. I'd lay out a line of blow for them on a mirror, and they'd snort like one line. And I was generous. I said, "Come on, join me," because misery loves company. And I'd lay out this strong cigar line, thick with cocaine. It was freshly cut, mother. Come on. And they'd snort a little bit and leave the last part. I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? How can you possibly snort only that? I want the whole line, and I'm looking at you, my jaw's going around, if my memory serves me. Where's more now? I'm ready to kill you and your children to get to the next line."
Right. And so I see what you're saying, and I've been like a little bit jealous. I think like maybe I don't want to accost them, with a solid knuckle sandwich, but I understand where you're coming from, because I'm like, man, what would have things looked like for me had I got one DUI and said, man, this is the turning point. Hell no. Like I had to dig so deep, down the hole to hit rock bottom. It was like, I'm, I wanted to be certain that there was no more digging to be done to hit that point in my life. That I get jealous of the people that are like, they've had one hangover and they're like, oh, and then I never drank that much again. It's like, what the hell, man? So, but it baffles me because I overdo everything. But lately, I'll say this, Mitch, like lately, I've been seeing that like my addictive nature is also a superpower. Like I get addicted to cool stuff. I get addicted to having conversations on this podcast with people like you. Like I love it and I want more of it. And so now I'm using that addictive nature of more. I'm just aiming it at something constructive and not selfish, because I was pretty much,
Ryan. We're channeling in a different direction. We reallocate our addictive personalities, our extremism, our request for more. We want more. I can't have a scoop of ice cream, Ryan. You look like a fit guy. Well, I formerly had a 6-pack. I have a hair pack today, and I've earned it because I can't stop at one candy bar or one scoop of an ice cream or just, no, I have the disease of more.
Right. Well, okay. I'm going to share something with everybody that I haven't really shared. I'm not shy about it. But I'm addicted to ice cream. When I quit drinking, the sugar cravings were through the roof and they've never really gone away. I eat ice cream every day. And here's another kicker. I'm diabetic. So, I'm not perfect. I'm not drunk either, and I'm not high, but I'm not perfect by a long shot,
You're not
but the ice cream thing,
with your addiction.
What's that? Oh,
you're not hurting anybody with your addiction. Your alcoholism can hurt other people if you drive or say things, your words.
Oh yeah.
Well, your ice cream, that's only hurting yourself, and that's your shit.
Yeah, in my pride, and then of course my body fat percentage, but
Right.
So, all right, man. So, all right, Mitch. All right. The whole point of the show is to show people, okay, all right, once upon a time, you're a piece of shit. But then what happened, right? Like you got cool. And I can say, like, I've read about Mitch, and he's like, he did some really cool stuff, like top-notch level entertainment around the globe, right? So I want to hear about that part, right? Like,
right,
move on.
I'll transition. So I found the program. I got into helping myself because I'll use the metaphor when you're on an airplane, and I liken life as a long flight on an airplane. Sometimes it's smooth sailing, and sometimes there's turbulence. And when turbulence hits, what you have to do as an addict and an alcoholic or person addicted, that mask pops down from above. And the flight attendant will tell you, that might be God, might be your sponsor in AA, it might be an advisor or a trusted person, will tell you, put the frigging mask on your mouth first. Save yourself first before you can then help your child or spouse or whomever. Without you helping yourself when times are turbulent until you then get to smoother airspace, you can't help other people. Take care of yourself first, because it will get rough. And there are some bumpy rides. Bumpiness will happen, guaranteed. So I focused on me for the first few years, and then I embraced service. Today is an act of service, but it's many years later. But during that time, I started helping others selflessly, meaning I took on sponsoring other people. I took on helping support other meetings. I went into Los Angeles County Juvenile Hall, which is a juvenile detention facility, and I selflessly, with a group of other people, went and spoke to the drug unit offenders in juvenile hall. And that paid dividends later. So I started to be an act of service, and I've never taken my foot off the gas pedal that way. The years started to accumulate. After about 3 years of staying clean and sober, because I'll use both terms, let's just say off mind-altering drugs, I then started a business. I had worked for my sponsor, odd jobs here and there, and then I started my own business in advertising, and it slowly started to build and build. And before I knew it, this wasn't just a part-time business to work to help support me going through college, because I decided to go back to college at this point because I had dropped out because of my drug addiction. And I went back to college. It took me a while, but I finished. By the age of 28, I'll fast forward a little bit. So I got sober at 23. So 5 years later, I sold that advertising business and then went into another line of work. I had paid off all debt that I'd accumulated. My car was paid for. I had borrowed money from friends and family to help me get through hard times. And not really family, friends. And got all of that. I expired all debt. All debt. So I felt clean. Then I got into a different line of work, and my life took off. Because when I first came in here, I only had one dream. That was to live. And then I started living life. Recovery gave me everything. And I had never been out of the country. I take that back. When I was 18, I backpacked across Europe and got loaded in every city. But then, my addiction wasn't at the level that it was when I finally came in. So I had been very limited in my travel, and then moved forward. And now at the age I'm at, I've traveled to 63 countries. I'm 63 years old. Coincidentally, they coincide this year. And
what's your favorite? What's your favorite country?
Thailand.
Never been.
I lived there for 11 years.
I got goals too.
Yeah, I lived there for 11 years. It's a great country, great people, nothing but positive memories. I'm happy being back in America now. I want to remain here. I will retire at some point back in Thailand. I don't know when, but for the near term, in my focus, I'm staying here, building my business. And, the pandemic changed everything. But in my travels as an AA speaker, I got invited to speak commercially. That means get paid to speak. I spoke at meetings because I felt it was my privilege to give back and speak and share. It's not an obligation. It was a privilege to be invited to speak. When I saw the opportunity to come and share on your podcast, which other people will listen to later, I saw it as an opportunity to give back. Because if I can affect one person, I'm paying back a debt that was given to me from other people who were so helpful to me in my early years. Most of those people are passed on now because I got sober 40 years ago. And they were older and they aren't around anymore. Most are gone. And I feel it's my privilege in life to help younger people, or even people who just haven't addressed it and they might be up in years, 40s, 50s, that's fine. If they've made it to 60s and they're still drinking, that's a rarity because it usually kills most people. Yeah, and the cirrhosis of the liver and all, diabetes, all these other complications that develop from excessive drinking. It's poison, just straight poison. And so are the other drugs. And I've been very blessed to have lived in 7 different countries. I have been on television in about 19 different countries, sharing about not just this, mostly business. Until 5 years ago, I was asked, how did I get into the speaking business? Because that's what I do professionally today. I've been a speaker trainer. I've been speaking myself. Like I said, I've traveled to 63 countries speaking. And one of the interviewers asked me that question. How did I get into what I'm doing? And I had a group of people in Manila, and I was being interviewed on one of the channels there. I don't remember which. I'd have to look it up. And there were 2 of them. There were 2 hosts who were asking me this question. And I answered, and I said, I got into the speaking business because I had a drug problem, and I was privileged with the opportunity to share about it publicly. And then a commercial component came into play. Someone in the audience asked me to come and speak to this group of mortgage brokers up in Seattle, Washington, and I made money. And then I realized, oh shoot, I can speak and make money as well. I never went the Toastmasters route like a lot of people do. Fine organization for people that want to go that route. I leapfrogged that entirely and went right into becoming a professional speaker. And I sucked at it in the beginning, became better, learned the craft, learned about media. Then in the 90s, I was a pitch person on a channel called Home Shopping Network out of Florida. I did that for 3 years, all because I enabled the principles of the program and my belief in staying sober and helping other people. Many gifts opened up to me that I never thought possible before. Many gifts came to me with my own actions and unexpectedly. So let's just call it a gift of unexpected delivery, and more continue to come to me.
I'm curious about a little piece here. Just a real quick answer, I suppose. It's like, so they have AA in Thailand? How is that? Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah, there is AA everywhere. I went to AA when I lived in Bali. I went to AA when I lived in Peru. I went to AA when I lived in the Dominican Republic. I lived in Colombia. I went to AA. I went to AA when I visited and spoke in Brazil. I went to AA in Dubai. I went to AA. I didn't go to AA in Pakistan. I spoke there, but I wasn't able to go to AA because it's illegal to drink there. Heavy Muslim country. And they might have drinking, but I never saw it. And I also...
Mitch, that's like crazy. So, well, let me ask you this. I'm also wondering, like, what was guiding your decisions to go to each of these places? Was it ladies?
Well,
I know
those were work situations. Those weren't to speak at AA. Bali, I lived in and I attended AA there. And I spoke there because certain people found out who I was, and it was a business community, so I did speak there. I spoke in Australia about 200 times. I've done a lot of work in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Japan, multiple times. Singapore, I'm heading off to Singapore next week to go on a 2-week speaking tour to go speak over there. Not AA, but I'll attend AA meetings when I'm there. I will attend recovery meetings when I'm in Singapore. But commercially, I'm going to Singapore to go and work.
Right. And now you're in Las Vegas, and I don't know. I know I have mentioned it, and I lived in Las Vegas for 11 years. Sure. It was a major chapter in my life. Before we hit record, we were kind of talking about I had mentioned some people make it to Vegas. They can only make it 2 hours. It's like, get the hell out of here. You're gonna be dead. You know what I mean? Like that
if you're
city.
In that party mode.
Right. And so it's such a unique place, Las Vegas. And it still has a piece of my heart because I was there 11 years. It wasn't all bad. But for a person that has issues with addiction, it's a tough place to function, so like.
But there's strong recovery here just for that exact reason. You may not have been in that space when you lived here, and you chose your route later, Ryan. Like I said, and I want to bring up a point, and we talked about this a little bit, but I want to address it with the crowd of people that are listening, because our goals are in alignment. Because I found that out before we started. We're here to help people. It's our privilege to help people. It's either through the gift of wanting to assist humans, which is my goal, regardless of religious choice. And you go through another route, which we talked about, and yours is through Christianity, which is great also. There are many paths to Oz. And Oz is a depiction of healthy, joyful living. As human beings, like I said, I believe we are basically good. We have some flaws, but we are good pack animals for the most part, look after each other, and we're wolves. Let's just say we have to eat, we fight and growl and snap at each other, but we still are there for the collective good. I choose to look at mankind that way. But there are different personalities and there are different ways to get to Oz. Mine was through AA, NA, and CA, all 12-step based programs. I tried Nichiren Shoshu Buddhism, where you rub beads in your hand and you recite Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And Ryan, some people I truly have met, not that many, but I have met people who use that as the vehicle to manage and handle their drug and alcohol addiction. I have seen it. I've seen many people that have chosen the path of church and Christianity, and it works for them. Others choose the biggest organization in the world, because it's the oldest that focuses on this, is the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous. It is the biggest, and it has the most exposure, but it isn't the only way. I'm not one of these fools that say it's the only way, it's the only, no, it's not. It's just the most popular. And there are others. Right. There's also smart recovery. So if there's anybody that's listening, I've heard positive results about it. I can't address it professionally, nor with any type of intellect. I went to one of their meetings. I found it interesting, but it just didn't resonate for me. I know what works for me. I've chosen this path for me. It's a great path. Some may want to find and turn to Christ. Wonderful. And why does Christianity work? And here's my opinion on it. And I want to invite your comment. It's because there's a collective of like-minded people that are there to support you. You might turn over some of this or all of it to God, which works for certain people. That aspect did not work for me. It was the group. Like I said, we're pack animals. You have your wife, you have other friends in your church. You probably do church outings. You might see each other and you're rubbing elbows. That elbow gets rubbed, man. And Bobby's got a little bit of chafing on it, Ryan, from rubbing elbows with people that are there to support you. But it's a positive chafing, It doesn't hurt anymore. It's got calluses. And it's what it takes to get to where you are today. You've got a big smile. You've got a positive spirit. I like to be around people who are positive, because mean-spirited people bore me and I avoid them. I want to comment on that, if I may, just quickly, Brian. It's how do you stay? One thing is to get over the physical malady of drug addiction and or alcoholism. Then you have to deal with what exists between right ear or left ear. How do you deal with that? There are multiple ways, as I've said, but there has to be something, or you're going to go back out and use again.
Right. No, I believe in this, and I've been, as we had spoke about earlier, is that I'm working on developing a program, but the nuts and bolts of it is basically getting addicted to something useful and valuable, and just we're full of that energy. In most people that become addicts and alcoholics, there's many of them share this kind of a type of personality, if you will, and I'm sure there's probably a bunch of research out there that backs this kind of a thing. But it's inside of us that when we are into something, we grab a hold of it and we go at it, And so I think that we have all this energy. It needs an outlet. And I don't think fighting our addictive nature is the way to do it. I think it's channeling it and giving it a healthy direction and aim. And then once you do that, it's like the lid is ripped right off. And that's what happened to you, right, Mitch? Like once you gain some clarity and some sobriety, it's like 3 years in, dude, your professional career takes off. In no time, you're debt free. And it's because you're not a type of person that settles for mediocrity or just getting by. It's like you did it way overboard when you were trying to, destroy yourself with cocaine and smoking it and going to, taking it to the tilt. But you did the same thing professionally with a business, and the next thing you know, you've paid off your life, and then people work their whole lives and can't attain that one simple goal of being debt free. You did it in a short period of time with some clarity and some sober days under your belt, right? So I'm like just behind people to like, okay, check it out. You made it through, right? You made it through sobriety. You're not scratching and clawing every hour, every day, right? Like, when you're in the trenches, it's one day at a time, and I get it, and you've got to be that until you get some room to breathe. But when you start getting some room to breathe, it's like, okay, well, now what can I do? And I think the answer for that question for a lot of addicts and alcoholics is like, you can do anything. But you went back to school. You started all these different endeavors. You've trotted around the globe. I think that the superpower of addictive nature and characteristics in our traits, like I think it's just a gift, but it's been funneled into something selfish. And then if we could just repurpose that energy, boom, it's like the reinvention of a person's life and soul and everything else. It's unmatched, man. And so I've just been behind this thing. It's kind of, I get all fired up about it because I think it's what's, I don't know. I want to be a part of it. And so like, I'm glad you were a part of it and I'm a part of it. But yeah, man, we're running up on the end of this thing here.
Okay.
So what do you want to leave these beautiful people with, man? Like drop us a one line of, how about this? I want to hear one course of action you would recommend for somebody that's in the trenches, somebody that they're like, they don't know what to do. They're scratching and clawing and they feel clueless. They don't know up from down, right? And so that maybe the person in that dark phase, right? And then, so that's one line for them. And then I want one line for the person that wants to know what's possible. Like what's next? It's like, okay, I've got a year of sobriety. What do I do next? Like, so that's 2 requests I have for you.
Okay. So first is inaction will keep you exactly where you are. You can try and do exactly what you're doing. So inaction, if you try to pick up a pen, you're not going to be able to pick it up. You must pick it up. You must put your left foot in front of your right or your right in front of your left and take that step. What is that step? Asking for help. That means reaching out to Ryan personally and seeing if he's got a way system in place that helps people. I know you're there to help people. This is your life mission, Ryan. And that's why I said my way was just my way. There are many ways, but the key is you've got to take that first step, and it's action. And action means picking up the phone, texting for you young people. You pick up the phone is ideal. Email if you have to. Fine, but do something. Move your fingers in a way that will make your life better and save your life. Because this is life or death. This isn't a situation of, do I get a tattoo or not? If you don't get a tattoo called addiction, you're going to die. You're not listening to this if everything in your life is perfect. You're only listening to this because you're on the fence or you're relating to it. We're a specific subset of society. And I think it's important to recognize, and I'm going to restate it because I come from radio and 3 calls to action. Inaction will leave you exactly where you are. Acting will create progress, albeit negative or positive. And one thing I'll say, why not work on and work with Ryan or another professional in your organization that has been around you, something that's comfortable for you, because we're after the same thing, helping mankind, right? Is taking some type of action. Commit to it and do it. And if it doesn't work, I'll promise you something, every single one of you. I will absolutely refund your misery. It's free. You can go back to where you were immediately. Go back to using, drinking, snorting, sniffing, poking, fucking, whatever it is. Wherever it is you are right now to where you want to go, that bridge is action. That's effort. 99% inspiration versus 1% perspiration. No, it's perspiration, 99%. 1% inspiration. Got to perspire to get. You don't get buff after one time in the weight room curling. You don't get 19-inch guns doing 10-pound dumbbells once. No, it's over time. Life starts to give us rewards over time. It took me a while, 3 years, until my life started to work, and I was able to expire my debt. Guys, do yourself your own favor. I can't push you. I just shared my experience, strength, and hope. The hope is you embrace and find that inner strength to move forward, to reach out and help. And it comes from a place of humility. Humility will allow you to grow. It's not a weakness, it's a strength. It's just a matter of reframing the word. Humility will yield a life worth living. It'll yield. I did not feel good about myself for several years. On most days, I can look in the mirror and I like who I see, especially when I remove my glasses, because I can fantasize about being young and handsome again, okay? Because the glasses give me clarity. I see who I am, a 63-year-old man who's been given a life that he never thought possible before. Allow yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunity to live a life, reach maturity. I'm happily in a position today to say I'm a member of the AARP, American Association of Retired People. Hence, I'm a senior citizen. I have earned my seat. I get discounts at Denny's, and I've earned it. And it's because I've stayed the course. Discounts are great. Yes, I clip coupons because I've grown into being a fully developed, mature senior citizen. You too can do this. I know it's a big carrot about Denny's and discounts. I say that with humorous intent, but it's an enticement, folks. If you can get there, you've arrived, man, because most of us should have been dead.
Right.
That's
I agree.
It. The alternative is better. If I use a coupon because I use my status as a senior citizen, I get a discount at Denny's nationwide. I use it shamelessly. Why not? I paid my dues to get here.
Right.
Got to pay your dues. I took the action. The action. Take the action, man. That's all I can say. That's my raw moment. The rest is up to you. Reach out to Ryan. He can take you. Pass the football off to him. He'll help you. And you then get to block as he takes it into the end zone. And everybody gets the touchdown here, and it's a concerted effort. You get the assist, okay? And then next time, he'll hand you the football and block for you. Take it into the end zone and get the hot Susie cheerleader at the end, okay? Or it could be Tom, the cheerman, whatever your affliction pronoun choice is. Get your reward with a smiling face of support and accomplishment.
I love it, man. No, Mitch, this has been a banger of a show, man. And I really appreciate you, brother. Guys, this has been The Next Fix. We'll see you on the next one.